My name is Jake. I'm 28 years old, and I work at a company. Something shocking happened to me, something that left me not knowing what kind of face to make. I'm here to share that shock with everyone. I first met Ashley at our company's orientation ceremony. At that moment, I fell in love at first sight. Honestly, I wasn't good at talking to women, but I gathered all my courage then. It took some time, but Ashley agreed, and our relationship began. I think we built an ideal relationship where we didn't interfere with each other's hobbies. As we were getting into our late 20s, I started considering marriage. However, one day Ashley said,
I don't really have a desire to get married.
"Really?"
Yeah. I'm just too caught up in my hobbies, like going to concerts.
I thought I was quite a geek myself, but I believed that hobbies and life plans were separate things. There were parts of Ashley's way of thinking that I couldn't keep up with, but I didn't want to fight over this difference and lose her. So I decided to just laugh it off. One time, Ashley said,
But I've thought about living together. Being with a boyfriend all the time would be really wonderful, wouldn't it?
"Really? Should we try living together?" And that's how we started living together, of course after greeting our parents. First, we went to Ashley's parents' house. As soon as we arrived, Ashley's father looked displeased.
I hear living together is necessary nowadays, so I won't oppose. Back in the day,
I interrupted him by making a joke using a movie as a reference. Ashley's father wasn't familiar with it, so he didn't get the joke. It's true that I went a bit overboard. Nevertheless, thanks to Ashley's mother's intervention, we somehow got permission to live together. As for my parents, they are basically laissez-faire, so the greeting was simple. In fact, they kept confirming with Ashley if it was really okay to have a boyfriend like me. It was clear from the start that I was a geek. A geek to the extent that even my parents were worried. At this point, I was told to get rid of all my figures, DVDs, and the like, but I couldn't easily part with my children that I had worked so hard to collect. In my heart, I shouted, "I'm proud of being a geek." After discussing it many times and looking at various places, we finally started living together. We managed to keep a good distance without interfering with each other's hobbies and without any major arguments. One day, I said something like a proposal to Ashley. "I'd like to live together with you permanently, Ashley. What do you think?"
I don't want to get married. I'm too busy chasing my hobbies.
By the way, Ashley is passionate about a band whose vocalist is named William. She had been seeing him as her main interest even before dating me, and she had been going to his concerts diligently. I love seeing Ashley's eyes sparkle when she talked about him. I think people who can be blind to something are happy. But I couldn't help but mutter, "So I can beat Jacob, can't I?" Ashley started giggling at me.
Are you jealous?
"Not really."
That's a lie. I don't want to change my last name. I respect my father.
I quietly nodded at those words. Ashley's father is strict, but he's a man who can bring down loving thunder. I respected Ashley's father too. "I see. I understand your feelings, Ashley. Sorry for rushing you."
But if we do have a child, we'll think about it properly then.
She smiled softly. I believed then that her smile and our future were connected. About a year later, Ashley and I were still living together. But one day, Ashley was very down. "Ashley, what's wrong?" At my words, Ashley slowly looked up. Her large eyes were filled with tears, trembling.
Something very painful happened, and I've had enough of everything.
Ashley pleaded in a tearful voice. "Ashley, I'm here for you. Don't say that." Encouraged her. Ashley managed a small smile.
I might only have you now.
"Me too. I don't need anything else if I have you, Ashley. Let's get married." At those words, Ashley showed a surprised expression. Yes, this was our first step towards marriage. Marriage is a life crossroad in a relationship between a man and a woman, the moment when both feelings intersect. From there, things moved quickly. Ashley and I started running towards the goal of getting married. When we went to greet Ashley's parents, her father welcomed us with a warm smile. "Thank you. I appreciate it." As I greeted them, both her father and mother responded warmly. Thus, we became husband and wife. Ashley had a fondness for fashion, so she was particularly meticulous about her wedding dress. Watching Ashley pick out her dress with sparkling eyes, I too felt happy. After the wedding, when things finally settled down, a new life began for us.
Have a good day.
I will. Ashley quit her job and switched to part-time work. With more free time in the morning, I began going to work while being seen off by Ashley. Ashley started working part-time at a cute cafe during the day, where she seemed happy working every day. Ashley's cooking was delicious, and the house was always clean. I had a wonderful wife, more than I deserved. However, I gradually began to feel something off in the house.
Look, isn't this tuna cute?
Ashley showed me her new clothes happily. Her collection of clothes kept growing. I knew that each piece of Lolita clothing was expensive. Even when we were dating, she seemed to agonize over each purchase. Yet now, it felt like Ashley was buying indiscriminately. Gathering the unease I felt, I tried to not suspect Ashley, telling myself it wasn't right. One day, I went to a cafe for a business meeting. This place is. I realized as I entered, it was the cafe where Ashley worked. Excited at the possibility of seeing Ashley at work, I looked around, but I couldn't find her anywhere. That's odd. I didn't hear she had the day off today. I sent Ashley an email asking if she wasn't working today. Ashley quickly replied, but still, she was nowhere to be seen in the cafe. A feeling of unease spread within me. That day, when I returned home, Ashley greeted me as usual. I'm home.
Welcome back.
But the feeling of something being off in the house didn't disappear. Come to think of it, I realized I only felt this unease on days I had to work late. Keeping my smile, I spoke to Ashley. I had a meeting today, and it just happened to be at the cafe where you work.
Oh, really?
Ashley clearly looked flustered.
Well, I had to leave early today because it's my time of the month.
Got it. Take care. Should I buy something for you?
No, I'll just sleep it off. I'm going to bed now.
Ashley rushed into the bedroom. I let out a small sigh and headed out to the nearby park. I called Alan, a junior from my college days. Alan could move around relatively freely, so I asked him to check on Ashley's activities. To cut to the chase, Ashley was indeed guilty. What's wrong? You don't seem well today. With concern, I asked her. The Ashley I once adored so much then, knowing that she was guilty, meant nothing to me.
Thank you, I'm fine.
Ashley smiled, but all I could do was desperately paste on a smile. Now was still the time to let things play out.
Hey, I want to buy this skirt. Is that okay?
People who are blind scare me. Until then, even though she begged for clothes like this, I thought it was cute and allowed it. But lately, the increasing amount of clothes have been bothering me. Yeah, you bought some last week too. Maybe wear those a bit more first.
But there's a concert soon. It's the anniversary concert for 3-7.
3-7 is her favorite idol group. Hearing it was at Madison Square Garden, I thought, well, can't help it. I see. Well, can't be helped then. Go ahead and buy it.
Thank you.
Ashley hugged me. At that moment, something surged in my chest, but I pushed it down. A few days later, I met up with my friend Alan to hear more. He told me that not only Ashley was guilty, she had been bringing her affair partner home. She really was cheating.
Jake, pretend to go to work today, but wait in the car I've prepared.
I nodded. Actually, I had installed some cameras in my house. I intended to resolve this today. Alan looked up at me with a puppy-like smile. Good boy. I instinctively patted Alan's head.
Hey, what are you doing?
Alan hastily fixed his hair. Sorry, you just look like a dog. I said that with a wry smile.
They're here.
As time passed, Alan whispered. I saw a familiar car approaching from a distance. The affair partner was heading to my house.
William, I've missed you.
Voices came through the computer.
Me too, Ashley.
The voice of William, her lover, continued. Rage boiled up inside me, but it was crucial to act calmly now. Is this getting recorded?
Of course.
Alan gave a reassuring reply. Gradually, the voices from the computer mixed with their heavy breathing. I stood up silently, resolved to go.
I'll go too. I want to capture the decisive moment on video.
Alan also showed his resolve. We entered the house and gathered evidence. Ashley and William were completely uncovered on the bed. Ashley, step aside. They looked at us in surprise. Can you move aside for a moment? I said again, and Ashley was flustered. Isn't today your work day?
You don't deserve Ashley. Poor thing.
William is much more of a man.
Ashley also laughed even though she was caught in the act. I felt like crying. I was furious and unforgiving because Ashley had betrayed me, but still, I was shocked to realize I still loved her this much. "Get away from Ashley," I yelled, but my voice seemed not to reach. By the time I realized, I had been hit by a right straight from William. My glasses flew off and hit the floor with a dry sound. At that moment, I thought I heard Alan's small scream, but I brushed it off. Nice straight punch. I smirked and took a step towards William. I closed the distance to William with a grin on my face. William stared at me with an annoyed look, but gradually his face turned pale, and he began to tremble. "Oh dear, you're turning as pale as a ghost. Are you okay?" William tried to say something, but his voice was faint. A large puddle had formed at his feet. "You're making a mess in someone else's house. I'll be sending you the cleaning bill." William had wit himself in fear. It felt like meeting an old friend after a long time. "William, long time no see."
Yes.
William replied, trembling. Ashley approached him gently.
What's wrong, William? You seem off.
She shook off his arm as she said that.
What are you talking about? Didn't we love each other? Didn't you say I was your first love?
Ashley seemed ready to reveal everything.
William and I have been together since the formation of 3-7. Back then, I fell in love at first sight with him. He was handing out flyers at Madison Square Garden, and we've loved each other ever since.
Then why did you marry me?
Because there was a love scandal with William, and I thought we were over. So, I married you. But soon after, William contacted me saying I was his number one. The love scandal was just a smokescreen.
No, that's not it. It's really not.
William began to frantically make excuses.
I wasn't serious. Please don't talk.
Actually, from middle to high school, I was a wild delinquent and uncontrollable kid. I chased down anyone I targeted until they gave up, using any means necessary. Back then, William was one of the underlings in our group. William was a year older but ended up as my underling after I beat him up. No wonder he was afraid of me. At that moment, there was a sound from the entrance. Alan quietly nodded and headed to the door to welcome someone. "Maybe you should wear another layer."
It's fine. Once you leave, we'll continue.
The person Alan went to greet was Ashley's father. "I apologize for calling you on such short notice."
That's fine, but what's going on here?
He asked with a quiet anger in his voice. The tone had a commanding presence that straightened my spine. Ashley couldn't make any excuses and looked down, swallowing her words.
You're old enough to know what's wrong. What are you doing?
Her father's words were also directed at William. He turned even paler and froze.
Well, anyone would turn pale looking at you, sir.
I was also sweating coldly. Actually, Ashley's father was my high school disciplinary teacher. Back then, he guided me earnestly, though we often clashed. Every time I caused trouble at school, he scolded me and lectured me. But his strictness shaped who I am today. The teacher quietly looked at us and said,
I never imagined we would all reunite like this, but I had faith in you, Ashley. Explain, what is this?
Ashley looked down, unable to say anything. I was silent for a while, but gathered my courage to speak.
Sir, actually, I'm going to be successful in music. My dream is about to come true.
Do you know the band Six Star?
I know them. Weren't they a legendary band that disbanded?
Actually, I was the vocalist of that band. And now, I've started my own music agency.
Really?
I have 2 tattoos on my arm. They're unique designs proving I am the vocalist of Six Star. You're all shaken up from the love scandal, right? Imagine what would happen if they find out you were also cheating.
William has worked hard for this moment. A major debut is a dream for any band member. If you're saying you'll ruin that, I'll divorce you, Jake.
That's fine. I plan to divorce you anyway.
William, I can get a divorce. We can be together openly from now on.
As she said this, Ashley tried to hug William with a smile, but William showed a moment of hesitation and said,
No, if others find out, I might literally get erased.
So what am I supposed to do then? You traitor.
Ashley was furious, and they began to argue fiercely. I sighed deeply. realizing I had no lingering feelings for Ashley.
Enough.
The space was abruptly cut by her father's booming voice.
First, put on some clothes. Then apologize.
His deep, stable voice prompted Ashley to start moving, and then she apologized to me in a small voice. It's okay. We'll go through lawyers from here on out. Waved my hand and looked away.
Lawyers? What are you talking about?
Relax. I'll be filing for damages. Also, you clean up the floor before you leave. William hurriedly ran to fetch a mop and bucket. Dad, I'm sorry, but I can't accept Ashley's apology. I want this resolved legally. I showed my respect to him as I said that.
I'm sorry too. My daughter has caused trouble. I'll make sure she takes full responsibility.
He responded back to me in kind.
Don't just make decisions without me.
Ashley screamed, but her father remained calm.
You're coming home. We're starting over.
Ashley teared up. William kept scrubbing the floor, and I felt an inexplicable frustration, shedding a few tears. I don't know you, but someone must have shared the information after that because William's affair became known to his agency, and they're considering their next steps. Their anniversary concert is postponed, and it looks like a disbandment is likely. I wasn't the one who leaked the information. I think the damage William caused to the agency is quite significant. I filed for substantial damages, so it seems like tough times are ahead for him. This time, I managed to tear the two apart with a bold yet calm intervention at the scene of the affair.